अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. In continuation of reading teachings of Lord Chaitanya, persons who are ambitious for deriving material benefit from devotional service are not pure devotees, but because they are engaged in devotional service, they are considered fortunate. They do not know that the result of devotional service is not material benediction, but because they engage themselves in devotional service of the Supreme Lord, ultimately they will come to the understanding that material enjoyment is not the result of engagement in his devotional service. Krishna says that such persons engaged in his devotional service are certainly foolish for wanting some material benefit in exchange. Such persons are foolish because instead of achieving the stage of love of Godhead, they try to accept something which is poisonous for them. Although such persons want material benefit from Krishna, Krishna, being all powerful, considers the person's position and gradually liberates him from such an ambitious life and engages him in devotional service. And when he is actually in devotional service, he forgets his past ambitions and desires for material benefits. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 19th chapter, this is confirmed as follows. Lord Krishna certainly fulfills the desire of his devotees who come to him in devotional service, but he does not fulfill such desires as would again cause miseries. In spite of being materially ambitious, because they are engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, such devotees are gradually purified of desire for material enjoyment and come to desire the pleasure of devotional service. Generally, people come to the association of devotees for mitigating some material wants, but the influence of pure devotees frees a man from all desires, material desires, and he relishes the taste of devotional service. Devotional service is so nice and pure that it purifies the devotee, and he forgets all material ambitions as he engages fully in the transcendental loving service of Krishna. A practical example is Dhruva Maharaj, who wanted something from Krishna and for that reason engaged in devotional service. But when the Lord appeared as 400 Vishnu before Dhruva, he said, My dear Lord, I engaged myself in your devotional service with great austerity and penances, and thus I am now seeing you. It is always very difficult to see you, even for the great demigods and great sages, and I am now pleased, and all my desires are satisfied. I do not want anything further. While I was searching for some broken glasses, I have found a great and a valuable gem. Dhruva Maharaj stated his full satisfaction, and he refused to ask anything from the Lord. The living entity that is transmigrating through the 8,400,000 species of life is sometimes likened to a log which is gliding downstream on the waves of river. Sometimes by chance the log comes to the shore and is saved from being forced to drift further downstream. There is a nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam in which every conditioned soul is encouraged. Nobody should be depressed, thinking that he will never be out of clutches of matter, because there is the possibility of being rescued, exactly like the log, which floats on the river for some time and then comes to rest on the bank. This fortunate opportunity is also discussed here by the Lord. Such fortunate incidents are considered the beginning of the decline of one's conditional life. They occur if there is the association of pure devotees of the Lord. By association of pure devotees of the Lord, one actually develops his attraction for Krishna. There are different types of rituals and activities. Some of them develop into material enjoyment, and some of them develop into material liberation. If a living entity takes to ritualistic activities, which develop into his pure devotional service to the Lord, in the association of pure devotees, then he naturally develops devotional service in his mind. There is a nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. 10th Canto, 51st chapter, where it is stated by Muchikakunda, Muchakunda, my dear Lord, a living entity while traveling in this material world through different species of life may develop towards liberation. By chance, he may come in contact with pure devotees. Only at that time is he liberated from the clutches of material energy and he becomes a devotee of yourself, the personality of Godhead. When a conditioned soul becomes a devotee of Krishna, Krishna, by his causeless mercy, trains him in two ways. He trains him by the spiritual master from the outside, and he trains him from the inside by the super soul. In this connection, there is a very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 29th chapter, in which it is said, "O my dear Lord, if somebody should get a duration of life like Brahma's, still he would be unable to express his gratitude to you for the benefits derived from remembering you, because out of your causeless mercy, you drive away all inauspicious conditions for a devotee, expressing yourself from outside as a spiritual master and from inside as a super soul. Somehow or other, if somebody gets in touch with a pure devotee and thus develops a desire for devotional service to Krishna, he gradually rises up to the platform of love of Godhead, and thus he is freed from the clutches of the material energy. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th Canto, 20th chapter, where the Lord says, "For one who becomes attracted by the topics of my activities out of his own accord, being neither lured nor repelled by material activities, the path of devotional service leading to the perfection of love of Godhead becomes possible." It is not possible, however, to achieve such a stage of perfection without being favored by a pure devotee or a Mahatma, a great soul. Without the mercy of a great soul, no one can even be liberated from the material clutches, what to speak of rising to the platform of love of Godhead. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, 11th chapter, spoken in connection with the meeting of King Raghugana of the Sindh province in Siberia with the king Bharata. The king expressed surprise at seeing Bharata's great stage of spiritual perfection in life. So I'll end here for today's reading and summarize. So it's very nicely said and how importance is given to the association of pure devotees, as well as they said that a living entity, even with material desire, performs devotional service in the want of some material desire to be fulfilled. Krishna mentions that even that living entity is considered to be fortunate. The fortunate, even though he is having material desire, yet he is performing devotional service. Eventually, when he is performing the devotional services for the fulfillment of his material desire, Krishna sees that he facilitates the living entity so that he comes in contact with a pure devotee and he develops pure love for the Supreme Lord. And in the meantime, once he develops a pure love for the Supreme Lord, he ultimately forgets about the material desires and ambitions to be fulfilled. But Krishna also says that the association of pure devotees is very important. Here, the metaphor used is about the log, which has been getting carried away by the waves of the rivers. Abruptly, if by chance the log gets rested upon one of the shore, the same way the living entity in the form of 8,400,000 species of life being carried away by somehow or the other, if he comes in contact with a pure devotee, there is no doubt that he is being destined to liberated with the help of the association of pure devotee. Any living entity who opts for a devotional service is considered to be very fortunate and is to be taken as that his conditional life is being getting purified and eventually he will reach the stage of love of pure love of Godhead. Krishna himself helps the devotee who wants to pursue on the line of devotional service by within and without. By being within as a super soul, he guides the living entity, and as a spiritual master without, on the outside, as in the form of a spiritual master, guides the living entity to reach the path of devotional service and to perform the path of devotional service. It's also said that even the living entities may approach by performing regulative principles or other methods. If the living entity performs the regulative principles and develops and performs in the meantime also performs a devotional service, for the period of time, the person may develop love of Godhead by performing the devotional service and overcome the ritualistics. So this is why it is said that Bhakti path is an umbrella under which everything falls in. So I end my summary here today.